What is up, my Andronauts? In this video, we're going to talk about meldonium, also called meldronate, on testosterone, free testosterone, sexual function, brain benefits, gut benefits, lots of stuff. So you might know this drug specifically because a lot of athletes have used it to enhance performance or whatever the reason might be, and they got busted for it. Right, so it's generally known as a performance enhancing aid, a PED, but it can also serve as a nootropic, and it has a bunch of other benefits. Medically, it's been used for heart conditions to help to improve heart health, heart oxygenation, glucose oxidation in heart, and so on. So if you're concerned about like blocking fatty acid oxidation, I will discuss exactly if that's really a problem or not at the end of this video, so please stay tuned for that. But let's start with meldonium on testosterone. Before we dive into the video, if you haven't already, be sure to get my ebook on how to maximize your testosterone naturally. If you would like to do coaching with me, links are in the description below. Let's dive in. So first of all, what is meldonium and how does it work? So it inhibits the synthesis of carnitine. We know carnitine as the compound that helps to transport fats from outside the mitochondria into the mitochondria to be burned for fuel. So it inhibits the oxidation of fatty acids. So this is typically the production process of carnitine. We have trimethylglycine. So basically carnitine is created from lysine and methionine combined via multiple steps until you get carnitine. Now, meldonium inhibits this final step here, gamma butyrate deoxygenase, right? So inhibits that enzyme right there. GBB is the last compound before converted into carnitine. Meldonium inhibits that enzyme. So what happens is now you have GBB increasing, carnitine decreasing, and you actually have this GBB having effects on the body, increasing, activating one of the acetylcholine receptors, which then increases the synthesis of nitric oxide, producing vasodilation, better oxygen carrying to the muscles, the heart, and so on. Better oxygen carrying, better production, and so on. But we'll get more into that in just a second. So let's talk about testosterone. So there was one study on meldonium on testosterone in pigs, and it seemed to quite effectively increase testosterone. In the placebo group, testosterone went down a little bit. This was a 90-day study. Meldonium increased testosterone. So 2 grams daily for 90 days. Now keep in mind, in the human equivalent dose would be a little bit more. So this dose, 2 grams per day in pigs, increased their testosterone. And there was no side effects, structural changes, or anything in the testes, liver, or kidney. So it was not toxic, at least 2 pigs in that specific dose. So this is it in terms of testosterone. Meldonium might increase testosterone in humans too, but can at least do so in pigs. Meldonium on sex-binding globulin and free testosterone. We know that the fatty acid palmitate, which is a 16-carbon fatty acid, we know palmitate has been demonized for creating cardiovascular disease, and so on and so on. And this is why we need to avoid animal foods, because it's rich in palmitate. So palmitate inhibits the production of sex-binding globulin. Carnitine, by enhancing the oxidation of palmitate, decreases palmitate, which then increases sex-binding globulin. Meldonium inhibits the synthesis of carnitine. You have less oxidation of palmitate, meaning you have more palmitate, less sex-binding globulin. So now, with meldonium use, you likely get a boost in testosterone and a drop in sex-binding globulin, getting more free testosterone. On terms of libido, meldonium might enhance libido. So GBB has been reported to enhance the sexual activity and potency, likely by increasing nitric oxide. A few benefits of nitric oxide include stimulates dopamine release in the hypothalamus, which then obviously signals LH release, libido, those kind of stuff. It promotes vasodilation and better oxygen delivery to the muscles. It promotes stronger erections, and it improves glucose disposal. These are just a few of the benefits of nitric oxide. So meldonium can enhance libido, but I think that's also related to the increase in free testosterone and total testosterone as well, not just nitric oxide and dopamine. All right, in terms of the ergogenic effect of meldonium in sports, why it might have a performance-enhancing benefit. And if you actually go look at the people that used it, the things that they report is they generally feel they have more energy, they don't get tired as fast, and they don't get sore after doing intense sessions. So meldonium improved peroxisomal utilization of fatty acids. So a few people know this, but you don't just have beta oxidation inside the mitochondria, you also have beta oxidation outside of the mitochondria. So I'll discuss that at the end of this video. Meldonium also decreases the production of lactic acid because you get better oxidation of glucose. You get improved storage and utilization of glycogen. It prevents oxidative stress because the burning of fat produces more free radicals than the burning of glucose. So less oxidative stress, less DOMS, less DNA damage, faster recovery. This is basically why people feel better when they use Meldonium. It also enhances endurance, aerobic, and physical work capacity, likely due to better oxygen delivery to the muscles. It improved functional parameters of heart activity. So when you're doing like intense activity, the heart can just beat better and you perform better. It ameliorated recovery after maximal and submaximal exercise, so your recovery is faster. And it also enhances activation of the central nervous system functions. So nervous system working better, better muscle contraction, fire release, fire relax, those kind of stuff, right? Your performance is just like more on top. The precision, like all of those stuff is better. So these are just some of the main benefits, sport benefits of Meldonium. So in terms of the cognitive benefits of Meldonium, like doesn't seem like these benefits ever end, right? It enhances brain glucose oxidation. So we know that the brain prefers to use glucose as fuel, and the moment the brain can't really oxidize glucose effectively anymore for whatever reason, this is when people start to experience cognitive decline. Now, this is typically what happens with Alzheimer's disease. So it enhances the oxidation of glucose in the brain, so you have better energy production, you feel mentally sharper and better, and reflexes is faster, those kind of stuff. It has potent cholinomimetic effects, so choline activation. It enhances eNOS and brain blood flow, more oxygen to the muscles, to the brain, to the heart, which also enhances performance. It lowers excessive noradrenaline and adrenaline, so it helps you to stay calm. So let's say you're doing a sport where accuracy and all of those kind of stuff is necessary. You need adrenaline and noradrenaline to help with that alertness, but too much can send you over the edge, make you too jittery and like you make mistakes all the time, right? So it helps you to stay calm, focused, not jittery and those kind of stuff. The drug is also used in neurological clinics for the treatment of brain circulation disorders, and when they use it, it improves patients' moods. These patients become more active, their motor dysfunction decreases, and asthenia, dizziness, and nausea becomes less pronounced. So as I mentioned, like this is the oxidative stress happening in the brain that's damaging the dopaminergic neurons. So now you're burning glucose better, you get better dopamine signaling. So also a few people know this, but the better you can burn glucose, the higher your dopamine will be. And this has also been shown when people supplement, for example, vitamin B1, which is a cofactor for pyruvate dehydrogenase. So it's a rate-limited enzyme with the proper oxidation of glucose. So when you can properly oxidize glucose, dopamine levels go up. So Meldonium helps to increase your dopamine, help with that focus, alertness, reflexes, good stuff. In terms of gut benefits, here's a study what they did in animals. So they gave these animals pure water, carnitine, or Meldonium. And then they injected, so the pure water with saline was a salt injection. It's just like a control group. The pure water with endotoxin, so that's a toxin to induce inflammation in the body. Then they used carnitine, which is known to be like antioxidant. They gave these animals carnitine for 2 weeks, and then they injected them with endotoxin. Then they gave the other group Meldonium for 2 weeks, and then they injected them with endotoxin. So you can like have the opposite effect. Carnitine promotes fatty acid oxidation, Meldonium promotes glucose oxidation. So they wanted to see like which one could better prevent the side effects when they injected endotoxin. So what happens is that Meldonium had better anti-inflammatory effects than carnitine. So we propose that the anti-inflammatory effects of Meldonate may be linked to its actions on the bacterial composition of the gut microbiome. So Meldonium increased/restored the Firmicutes to Bacteroides ratio. And this ratio, so reduced Firmicutes to Bacteroides, is associated with increased intestinal permeability and inflammation processes in the gut, which is reduced after endotoxin injection. So when they injected these animals with endotoxin, the Firmicutes to Bacteroides ratio decreased. Meldonium prevented that. Meldonium. It also prevented decrease in Alloprevotella. So this Alloprevotella is a bacterial genus that is necessary for reducing inflammation. So interestingly, LPS, so endotoxin, reduced Alloprevotella. Carnitine dropped it the most. And Meldonium didn't affect it, or at least helped to prevent the drop in this Alloprevotella. And then additionally, Meldonium decreased the expression of pro-inflammatory cytokines and anti-inflammatory markers in the intestine when they injected these animals with endotoxin. So it had a strong anti-inflammatory/protective effect against toxins in the body, which is key because when you're training really hard, you create a leaky gut. And when you create leaky gut, those endotoxins will go into the body. this is obviously with very strenuous exercise like marathon running and so on. And so in that case, meldonium protects against that endotoxin absorption during leaky gut. So now we're at the part where I'm going to show you that inhibiting fatty acid oxidation with meldonium is not a bad thing. So this is the peroxisome and this is the mitochondria. So we all know that you get a beta oxidation in the mitochondria, but few people know that you get beta oxidation outside the mitochondria as well. So what happens is that this peroxisomal beta oxidation takes a very long chain fatty acids, breaks it down into shorter chain fatty acids, which can then be transported into the mitochondria for further beta oxidation. But you can see what's happening here is that this beta oxidation can create very short chain fatty acids like MCTs that can then be transported into the mitochondria without the need for carnitine and still be burned in the TCA cycle and still produce energy. So when you're inhibiting carnitine synthesis, you're not actually blocking fat oxidation, because outside the mitochondria, you can still break down long fats into MCTs, which can then be taken up into the mitochondria without the help of carnitine, and you can still burn fat like a normal person, right? But without the harmful production of reactive oxygen species and the accumulation of incomplete oxidized fatty acids, those kind of stuff accumulating inside the mitochondria. So it's not bad that you inhibit fat oxidation. Other studies have also shown that when you inhibit the synthesis of carnitine, it's very liver specific and not so much in the muscle and other parts of the body. The absolute carnitine content doesn't decrease in these parts of the body. So you still have enough carnitine to be protective and be helpful. It doesn't like abolish or completely tank your carnitine. And even if it did, the body can still bypass that by shortening these long chain fatty acids into medium chain or short chain fatty acids that can still be taken up into the mitochondria. So technically, you don't really need the carnitine, or if you get a small decrease in carnitine with meldonium, it's unlikely to cause problems. Because as you can see here, the carnitine synthesis, the carnitine transporter, only takes up long chain fatty acids. The medium chain fatty acids can be taken up independent of carnitine. So if you can break those long chain fatty acids down into MCTs outside the mitochondria, which is what happens in the peroxisomes, you can still take up fat without carnitine. So in my opinion, it's not bad to use meldonium to inhibit carnitine synthesis because you're still burning fat, just in a different way. So personally, I have not used meldonium before. It's definitely high up on my list to experiment next with. If you would like to experiment with it, I will put links in the description below to buy it, so you can try it. If you have used it before, please let me know in the comments your experience with it. I might try with it early January, maybe February, try to get some meldonium and see how I respond to it. So in summary, meldonium is unlikely to have side effects because it doesn't completely abolish the oxidation of fatty acids. It might actually increase your testosterone, increase your free testosterone, and as a result, you have more free testosterone that can convert into DHT. So you get a boost in androgens, you get an increase in nitric oxide, increase in dopamine, like all of the good stuff can happen when you take meldonium. So please let me know if you've used it before in the comments, how you felt when you used it. Hope this video was interesting, and I will check you in the next one. Cheers, guys.